Viewers, welcome to this edition of Ask Your MP today. This is the third edition of Ask Your MP 2020, and here with me in the show, I have Honorable Member of Parliament who will introduce himself to you, will tell you what kind of responsibilities that he has in Parliament, apart from the representation of his people here in Parliament. Honorable, welcome to the show.
Thank you, my sister. My name is Etuka Isaac Joaquino. I am the Member of Parliament for Upper Madi County, and I sit on the Education Committee of Parliament of the Republic of Uganda.
You're welcome to the show. Honorable, you are in education committee, or you are an educationist and you have the passion for education. This is not the first time you are appearing in this show.
Yeah.
Now,
Um, I am a member of the Education Committee, but by profession, I am an educationist because I am one person who grew in the field of education right from certificate. I hold grade 3 certificate in education, I hold my diploma in education, bachelor's of education, and I am well rooted in education.
welcome to the show. Viewers would love to know why government of Uganda, through the Ministry of Education and other branches, decided to bring a new school curriculum.
When we look at the curriculum that we have been implementing, which I will call the independence curriculum or pre-independence curriculum. From the time we are in fact colonized, up to the time we got independence, but then even up to now, our curriculum has been in fact in the interest of the colonizers. This is in fact the first curriculum which is trying to come up, because when you look at the curriculum which we have been following, it leaves very little to really impart skills in the students that we have, in the school graduates that we have. And that is why when you look at the nature of unemployment and what have you, the curriculum produces what we call the job seekers instead of job creators. And the curriculum had so much been loaded that if in senior one you find students, young children, undertaking more than 17 subjects. So I think the curriculum, which is now being reviewed, is one to see that we have a curriculum which can address the national development goals of Uganda, a curriculum which can produce as job makers instead of job seekers, a curriculum which can impart skills of self-reliance in our children and even change of attitude. So I think the curriculum which is being rolled out will so much address the concerns of the country, particularly in relation to the NDP 3, in relation to the Vision, Uganda Vision 2040, and all other development programs, particularly in relation to education.
Thank you so much for the elaborate introduction of this show. So, what subjects are exactly being brought? We under from the record, from whatever we are seeing, we out of 43 subjects that are being studied in Uganda, we see it reduced to 21. So how will it benefit ourselves in understanding the world broadly?
Uh, when we look at the subjects in the lower secondary curriculum, most of the subjects which have been compulsory have been brought back, because subjects all the science subjects like history, physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics are compulsory, and other subjects geography and history, and which will make us still know about the world, have been made compulsory in the lower curriculum. But this curriculum is different because, as I said, instead of so many subjects, a student will only be restricted to take 11 subjects with one elective subject in the lower secondary, and then in senior 3 to senior 4, they are going to still take fewer subjects, and instead of sitting for 10 subjects where in O level, the student will sit for 9 subjects, which means the 8 compulsory subjects and then the additional elective subjects. So this will make at least the level of their concentration on the particular areas very, very specific and serious. So I think it's very important that we really embrace this curriculum, and the ministry does everything possible to see that this curriculum is really rolled out, and we see the changes that it's going to bring. But I believe it will help us.
We have seen additional subjects like nutrition, food technology, entrepreneurship, agriculture, and ICT also put in place. And why are they including entrepreneurship, food, nutrition, other things? Were they not catered for in the primary healthcare education?
They were catered for, but then they were not more detailed. That's one. That's one thing, and particularly agriculture has been brought as one of the elective subjects, just because we still have a lot. Agriculture deserves a lot. And that's why you realize that the agriculturists that we have been producing under the old curriculum has not really been so practical.
So we already have viewers watching you from a distance, wherever they are, and we have one online and is asking you a question you can read and verbally answer as we proceed.
Yeah, I'm seeing a question by Sam Okwakol, that what is the new curriculum seeking to address? As I had earlier said at the introductory part of it, we are saying that the new curriculum is seeking to address the gaps which were so much existent in the old curriculum. First of all, this curriculum comes with a method of teaching, which is child or student-centered learning method. And also the assessment is in this curriculum is different from the previous assessment, where people only do the summative, have impact on the summative assessment or evaluation. But with this new curriculum, the student is looked at right from the beginning. There's like a continuous assessment of the students right from the teaching process, and it constitutes part of the student's assessment. You'll recall that in the old curriculum, it is only the senior 4 examination results on which a student is assessed. But now with the continuous assessment, you'll find out that we shall be able to see the student through, because this is a curriculum which seeks more practical hands-on of the students. I was looking at the East African Inter-University Council report, which indicated that we have very unskilled graduates. Our graduates are underrated as compared to Kenya and other students in other parts of the world. And even within East Africa, Ugandan graduates were underrated just because they say the hands-on are not as quick as it would have been for other graduates, and they are not in fact employable. But with this curriculum, it is our confidence and hope that the method of instruction, the method of teaching, which is well stipulated in the curriculum, will be addressed.
When is it taking effect?
This curriculum is supposed to be rolled out from this very academic year. In fact, the senior ones who are joining this, the secondary education this year, are expected to undergo the new curriculum.
Are we ready?
According to the National Curriculum Development Center, they have done everything possible to make sure that this curriculum is being implemented. However, they are expecting, because when we looked at the budget framework papers, there seems to be a gap where they are saying that there's need for more funding. And I think Parliament is doing everything possible to avail funding for the rollout of this curriculum because it has been long awaited. And it will really be good if the curriculum is embraced, first of all, by the implementers, because that's another issue. Because if the curriculum is rolled out by the ministry, but then those who are supposed to consume it do not embrace it, it's going to be an issue. There are secondary schools which have that have been teaching so many subjects, and the other teachers are looking at where shall we go? Where will these teachers who have been teaching other subjects go? So I think it is something that should be addressed. I see a question by Richard Katangwayo that why should the curriculum start at secondary school? Could it be better to start it from primary education? I want to thank Richard for this question. And this is one question which has also been, in fact, before it is even asked here, the National Curriculum Development Center had looked at that. And that's why they are saying that they are going to overhaul the primary curriculum. It is going to be retrospective. Though ideally, they should have started with the primary curriculum and then roll it to secondary. But then they are saying they are going to overhaul the primary curriculum to match the needs of the current curriculum, and also they will have to review the A-level curriculum so that by the time those who are starting this curriculum reach senior 5 or A-level, they will have shooted in the curriculum. So it is a constant process. But they're already working on the A-level curriculum to suit this O-level curriculum. But then also, most importantly, they're reviewing the primary school curriculum. And I see also Biba Kizito saying, will children with special needs be thought of before the curriculum is implemented? Definitely, the curriculum is inclusive. We are now in what they call the inclusive education process. In every aspect of implementing the curriculum, it is very important that the people or the children with disability are catered for. So I think there's no worry. There will be no disparity, and in fact, this curriculum is going to help even children with disability more because we are saying it is a hands-on. It is curriculum which is really going to emphasize practical skills. Chansaku Charles Nyombi is saying, I love the new curriculum, but how are you planning to enforce it? We have seen such awesome things coming up, and some schools, for whatever reasons, refuse to implement it. I think any school that will not be able to implement this curriculum will be at disadvantage, will disadvantage the students of such a particular school. First of all, the government inspectorate is set to ensure that the curriculum is implemented in every school. This is not curriculum which is going to be like thematic curriculum. You know, thematic curriculum was segregatively implemented because it gave different mediums of instruction. In urban centers, English is used, and in the rural areas, they were using local languages, which has a number of issues. I'm not going into that, but particularly in relation to Nyombi's question, it is our hope and our confidence that all the schools across country, across board, whether government or private, embraces this because it has the monetary aspect of it. They are going to monitor, they are going to evaluate this curriculum. Their assessment is even be based on this very curriculum. So you to remain, any school that does not implement this curriculum will have issues with that. Pishwa Chiomba is asking, other countries are scrapping exams as a means to assess learning outcomes. Is this an idea to consider? Very, very much. I had earlier on said that one of the reasons why we are having this curriculum is to make sure that we have what we call the continuous assessment. You know, with the continuous assessment, a student is assessed from the beginning. A student is assessed from the beginning. They give, they look at the performance of the students because we have those who are slow learners. And it's very important that they take into note because a student may not be very good in the examinations. No, examination is just one small aspect of the learning process. But with the continuous assessment under this new curriculum, we expect that a child's skills, which are identified earlier, are catered for. So it's not only on the issue of the last assessment that a child is going to be. So I think that is where we are going also as a country, because we have so much been linked to examination processes. You find that teachers don't sleep. Teachers don't teach the content. They only teach the examination. So it is something that we really need to do. And I think the worries of Chiomba are going to be addressed, because the issue of really assessing students only examination is something. Then there's another question still from Chiomba, that did the authors of this new curriculum consult with the students, parents, and teachers? Very, very true. These people widely consulted. Even before they came up with the curriculum, they looked at what could be done. This curriculum, the process of coming up with this curriculum has been long overdue. And of course, consultations have been done at various levels. Almost all the stakeholders have really been consulted before coming up with this kind of curriculum. So I think the consultation has widely been done, and it is our hope that with the consultation, with the degree of consultation, the teachers are aware, the pupils, the students are aware, and a lot of publicity has also been done in relation to this. When you go to the various websites of National Curriculum Development Center, when you look at the other reading and the writing materials of the Curriculum Development Center, various aspects of publicity have been made besides the consultation. So this curriculum is coming at a time when a number of stakeholders are fully involved. And if, in fact, even as in some schools, as a student picks on admission letter, they indicate that these are the subjects that you are going to study. And parents are aware. I'm a parent myself. When I got to find out about the curriculum, I had to know the details. I sat with the students to see how they are going to.
Taking back to consultation, we saw thematic education taking place that time, and before it was absorbed, they did some kind of piloting. Are we piloting on this, or we are on the move?
No, with this curriculum, we are just on the move. Because the consultation has been done widely, and this curriculum, as I said, has been in existence in the planning process for quite long. They have distributed all the curriculum booklets to all the students. Of course, the curriculum booklets gives all the details, the books which are supposed to be used, the instruction materials, and what have you. So all that has been given to all the schools, not only government aided, but even private schools. Then our brother Shem is asking,
all the way from Arua.
Oh, that how does the government intend to enforce this, particularly in the private schools? I'm afraid the unhealthy competition in education may compromise this. I want to tell my brother Laban here that it's true, the unhealthy competition is what has been killing many of our institutions. And practical studies have shown that children who have got aggregate 4, I think there's a report that those who got aggregate 4, by the time they reach university, have been the poorest performers. Yes, sure. And those who come from the rural villages or from other backgrounds excel with the first class, second class, and what have you. It is practical that if you look at those who fly with the first class degrees in higher institutions of learning, particularly in universities, they are not those who got 4. And these 4s, the AAs, are just because of the unhealthy competition my brother is talking about. But because we are going to have the continuous assessment, I don't think these private schools will continue with that kind of confusion. Then Christine Babas is asking, how will students with special needs be catered for? The current curriculum is lacking. Christine, as I said earlier, the children with special needs are a priority in this curriculum because every facility is catered for, particularly in the new curriculum. In fact, there's strict directives, not only in issues of the curriculum, but even social environment of the study process. So I think Christine should not be worried because that one is they are catered for. And Charles Nombi is asking, but putting up an inspectorate body to me is not enough. Are you planning to examine these new subjects and activities at the finals? These subjects are examinable, particularly, as I said, right from senior one, there are some compulsory subjects, and these compulsory subjects also roll to senior 3 and senior 4. Of course, we have the senior 1 to senior 2, and then senior 3 to senior 4. So this curriculum has clearly put the subjects which are going to be examinable at national levels. But of course, at school levels, in the summer, in the formative assessments, they are going to be examined, and also in the summative, they are going to be done. Of course, I think as Parliament, you should guide the government to look at education in a holistic way, singling the issue of the curriculum alone and leaving the issue of welfare for both the learners and teachers who are going to implement the curriculum is very dangerous. I want to thank Hokwal for that question. This is what the curriculum is now going to address, a holistic approach, developing a child as a whole. And that is where the aspect where I say that this curriculum is overemphasizing hands-on, practical, learner-centered education. So, but then the issue of the welfare, I think the ministry is looking at that, particularly, the salary disparities and what have you has caused a number of issues in this country. The payment of science and the art teachers and what have you. It has raised a number of issues. But what we are saying here is that the issue of addressing the welfare is being catered for by the ministry. There's a commission which was formed to look at the salary disparities. So I think they're going to do everything possible. Is civic education one of the subjects on the curriculum? No.
Yes, we used to study what they call
civics, exactly.
Yes, civic education.
Exactly. On the curriculum, this is what now is put under history and political education. And in fact, what we used to learn as civics is what now is transformed as political education. But now political education and history, because they have a lot of similarities, have been put together as a subject, and it's one of the compulsory subjects in the new curriculum. So I think the civics is properly going to be covered. And the political education is very important because, as somebody asked earlier, that's what is going to make the Ugandans and even the Africans learn about other parts of the world. But then, the only thing people are looking at here is that we need to rewrite our social studies, because history we learn about other countries and what have you. The students are left with very, very little to learn about Uganda. A student in West Nile cannot know what is there in Western Uganda, and yet they teach other things which are very far, which children cannot conceptualize. So I think the civics is catered for, and that how will the success of this curriculum be measured? The success of this curriculum is going to be measured in a number of ways. One, the formative evaluation. By the formative evaluation, I mean the termly examination, the observation methods which are going to be used, the practical skills which children will be learning is one way that they are going to measure this curriculum. But then at the end of the senior secondary education, both S4, O level, and the A level. There's going to be the summative evaluation by UNED. Still, the examination aspect is there, but bearing in mind the continuous assessment program. So I think it's very important that that is going to be catered for, and children are going to learn a lot, and we expect the best assessment of this curriculum.
Are all teachers who are going to handle these students being trained already?
Ministry of Education has started training of some of these teachers, but not all of them have been trained yet. But then, the government is determined to see that all those who are going to practically implement the curriculum are trained. So I think that the training process is going to be catered for, because it's one of the key areas where the teachers have to be trained and be briefed about. They should properly because they are the implementers on the ground who need to handle that.
My assumption is that the retooling of the teachers or training of the teachers to catch up with this curriculum, or the development of this curriculum, is to catch up with the current situation. The technology has gone high, the history has changed, where people are interested. It's not the Napoleon and other things. Now, I was recently talking to a group of youth in Gulu,
Yes.
and they proposed that on this particular issue, and they proposed that even the Bible should be rewritten in a simple term, because it looks like to young people, Bible is an old thing that is not catching up with the youth. So they prefer it to be also part of the training, Bible class. Maybe in the afternoon, one of the curriculums should be a Bible teaching.
Yeah, to start with this, it's very interesting. To start with this issue of the Bible teaching, Bible write up and whatever, you will recognize that Bible has been simplified over time. Remember when you look, when I have got chance to read a number of versions. To start with the Jerusalem Bible, you find words like Yahweh, thee, and what have you. But over time, the terms have been simplified, even to the extent that the translations have been taken over time. Right now, we have Bibles in local languages. This is all evolution of the Bible, rewriting the Bible to the understanding of everybody. And true, when we look at what has been happening, in fact, history has many things have changed. That's why the curriculum is capable of trying to look at textbooks also. What are the facts? But if you will believe with me, even in biology, teachers used to tell us that by the age of 16, 15, 16, a girl will get pregnant. But now today we hear that the youngest mother in the world is 8 years. Recently we heard of someone who 12-year-old girl was able to give birth. So
An 11-year-old boy and father.
Exactly. So you find out that a lot has changed. They used to say that by the age of 45, a woman no longer produces. But now we have mothers who are 56 giving birth.
Yes.
So a lot has changed.
And 27 menopause.
Exactly. So a lot has changed, and therefore a lot has been rewritten. In fact, that's one of the purposes of the curriculum, to see that whatever is done should be in line with that. I'm seeing this is asking, how will the success of this curriculum be measured? That one I've answered. Will the classrooms have to be re-equipped? In that case, will Parliament avail the resources needed? And in fact, in the preparation of this curriculum, the government came up with the APL1 infrastructural program, where they were constructing laboratories, multi-purpose laboratories and subject-specific laboratories in various institutions of higher learning, secondary schools, particularly in the rural areas. Because it used to be that people, even me personally, I started in a rural school, and the first day I saw some of the chemicals, some of the equipment used in the laboratory was when I was sitting my O-level examinations and they were brought from elsewhere. And as a result, some of us broke many of those. But now the government has already gone ahead to construct laboratories in those institutions, in various secondary schools. They want to really re-equip, because that has been one of the challenges of poor performance, particularly in sciences. Children don't know what is taught. They are just there, and that is it. And that's why even as the education committee, some of us were saying, government, before we hurry paying the science salary, the salary to science teachers, do we have the science infrastructure in those institutions of higher learning? Because we may find ourselves paying teachers highly for what they have nothing to teach. So I think the government is prepared to that, to do that. They are equipping the schools. They are really trying to do everything possible, and Parliament is trying to avail as much as possible funds for reconstruction projects. The head of the state recently at Gulu University graduation repeated the need to put more emphasis on science courses. The provisions in the curriculum to promote the teaching of science subjects. Do schools have the necessary tools for teaching science? That's exactly what they have responded to.
Okay.
Now, the president, in fact, failed to be convinced about arts, and he's very particular. Like universities like Mbarara, whose niche was supposed to be medicine, when he introduced other courses, the president had to come on board and told them off that no, this was initially for sciences. Can you do away with some humanities? And I think they have to do away with some humanity courses. So the government is doing everything possible. You know, the head of the state, once the head of the state comes to pronounce himself, it means he is ready to provide the necessary facilities. That's why we are getting funding, international funding, donor funding, and even committing much of the locally generated funds to equip the science teacher.
So where does the new curriculum put children with disabilities?
The new curriculum, first of all, there's a separate guideline to ensure that children with disability are catered for. There's affirmative action, first of all, in the admission of these children at various levels, both secondary and even university level. But particularly for the people, for those with disabilities, particularly those also with cognitive disabilities,
Yes.
there's a need, instead of only making them to concentrate on the sciences, where they cannot, they are given privilege to study arts and other humanities, but they are still useful. But then we have also seen that there are some children with disability who excel. In the recently released PLE results, we found that one of the best candidates in a rural school was a disabled, a deaf pupil, I think of Zimbabwe Primary School, got aggregate 13, and many who were able got 36, and even some children getting completely zero. We had at the release of the result that there are those students who completely did not score any single mark. They were not disabled. So I think the issue of the disabilities children is well catered for.
So we currently are relying so much on UNEP, Uganda National Examination Board, UCE. Are we going to still entirely rely on UNEP?
No, you'll realize that we have also the UBTEB now. Yes, which gives examination to the technical institutions and whatever, those vocational schools. So much as UNEP will continue to examine, particularly at the summative evaluation of the curriculum. We have those students who, after P7, join other technical institutions. There are those who, after Senior 4, join other vocational or technical institutions. Those ones go to UBTEC and other examining bodies. The UNEP now does not have the mandate to give them those examinations, because those are not practical examinations, where practical part of it is going to be part of their assessment. So I think it's very important that they assess them.
Thank you so much for your concluding remarks.
Yeah, I want to conclude by requesting all our listeners out there that there should be ambassadors to the public about the new curriculum. They should perceive it positively because it has been well researched. It has been meant to fulfill the gaps, the missing gaps in the NDP 3, and even those previously in NDP 2. And the issue of skill in Uganda is deeply rooted in this curriculum. I therefore call upon the teachers, I call upon all the stakeholders really to accept this curriculum and implement it positively.
So, Honorable, since you're an educationist, you know much about, you have great degree, you talked about. Now, I want us to do an examination before viewers. Now, my question is, what is Bunsen burner?
As I told you, the number of issues that we struggled with as children who really did not have good routine in sciences. So I'll not want to go into those specific scientific questions and what have you. But I believe the curriculum is going to address it.
Okay, thank you, viewers, for watching us. Thank you for all the views that you have put across and responded to by our honorable guest of today. Remember to watch this particular program every Thursday between 2 and 5. Listen to our parliamentary radio program from the nearest radio station from you. We thank you, Laban from Voice of Life, and others who have contributed to this show. Remember to watch Face the Citizens TV show on NBS every last Saturday of the month. From Wizards Foundation and my team, Lukwago Nelson, Bayo Katami, Chris Kayonga. Bye-bye. Next time, same time, same place. Bye.
Thank you.